Gypsy-Rose Blanchard settles her divorce with Ryan Anderson. Sources tell TMZ that the judge has officially signed the divorce papers, meaning they both can get their copies now. But she would have known that the day she went into court.
Oh my gosh, you guys, the Ryan and Gypsy divorce drama has finally wrapped up. Can you believe it? The judge has officially signed off, meaning Ryan is finally free from any ties to Gypsy-Rose. It's been such a wild ride, but now both of them can finally move on with their lives. I have to say, Ryan handled this whole thing like a total class act. Instead of dragging things out in a messy courtroom battle, he decided to settle everything out of court. Smart move, right? Not only did he avoid all that stress, but he also saved himself from those sky-high legal fees that come with fighting it out in court. But hold on.
What is said by the judge that day when he orders the judgment is that he's granting the divorce. It's done. But a lot of times judges don't sign the paper and give you a copy yet. It can take weeks sometimes to get your copy.
Every state, when it comes to a divorce, handles things very different. I know in Georgia, if you're pregnant and you're wanting a divorce, you actually cannot get a divorce until the baby is born. Whether it's your husband's or it's not, the divorce cannot be finalized until the baby is born.
There's still one last thing hanging over them, dividing up their community property. Honestly, this could get really interesting. In Louisiana, everything they earned or acquired during their marriage is considered community property, which means it's all up for grabs. And even though Ryan and Gypsy didn't have any major physical assets like a house or fancy cars, their financial portfolio is still worth talking about, especially Gypsy's. I mean, let's not forget, she's raking it in from documentaries, Lifetime shows, and book deals.
However, in Louisiana, she was able to get the divorce. But within 300 days of that baby being born, after a divorce, there has to be a paternity test. And I'm not sure if he's able to waive his rights to that. I know Gypsy allegedly did want the paternity test that she took earlier last month or the month before to come into play, but that wasn't allowed.
All of that was earned while they were still married, which means Ryan might just walk away with a chunk of that cash. Talk about a plot twist, right? Now, Ryan could have made this whole thing way messier. He had evidence. Yes, evidence of Gypsy cheating during their marriage.
It was done and finalized the day she went into court, and that's what the hearing was for. But it is now completely settled because the judge has signed off on the paperwork. Gypsy-Rose Blanchard is finally putting her first marriage behind her. It looks like both she and Ryan Anderson have reached a settlement in their divorce. According to a court clerk, a judge hadn't yet signed off on it. That's typically how it goes. Ryan's lawyer, Jeffrey Carrier, tells TMZ his client skipped the court appearance to save on those pricey attorney fees. And why would he? She's pregnant by somebody else. He wasn't going to contest it.
If he wanted to, he could have filed for an at-fault divorce, which basically puts all the blame on one person. But you know what? He didn't go there. Instead, he chose an absolute divorce, which is a no-fault arrangement. It's like he said, I'm not here for the drama, and honestly, that says a lot about his character. Well, he just wanted to move on without airing all the dirty laundry. Another huge detail? Neither of them is getting spousal support. That's right, no alimony for Gypsy or Ryan. It's kind of refreshing, don't you think? They're both walking away to start fresh, without being tied down financially to each other. But back to the juicy part, the community property split.
Is already agreed on no spousal support. The division of community property is still on the table. It was a quick marriage, but these are some contracts still hanging in the balance. What, Pixie? What community property? The division of $15,000 that's sitting in a bank account? No, Ryan doesn't make enough money to have spousal support taken from him, and they were not married long enough for that to have occurred.
Since they didn't have a prenup, Louisiana law says everything gets divided 50/50. That means Ryan could be entitled to a significant portion of Gypsy's earnings during their marriage. And in case you're wondering, the length of their marriage doesn't matter in Louisiana. Whether they were married for 5 years or 50, it's still an even split. Honestly, that's a major win for Ryan because he'll get his fair share regardless of how long they were together. Under his name too, Simon has not been separated from his family. Now, let's not forget the final detail. Anything they earned after their court hearing in July is off limits. That hearing officially ended their community property arrangement, and Ryan didn't even attend because he wanted to avoid the extra costs of traveling and paying his attorney.
Gypsy doesn't make enough money to pay spousal support. From my understanding, they weren't together long enough for either of them to ask for spousal support from each other. But as far as community property, an apartment or a dog, both of which she had no interest in whatsoever. So I don't see how, what division of what community property. She took her stuff and she left and she went to her dad's house.
Can you blame him? He's clearly trying to move on without dragging this out any longer. At the end of the day, this whole situation has been a whirlwind for both of them. Ryan may not walk away completely unscathed emotionally, but at least this financial settlement gives him a chance to start over.
Rose obviously coerced or was able to get Ryan to overlook anything that he's done and not handle it in court. He's dropping everything and she's dropping everything.
It's not a perfect ending, but it's something. And as for Gypsy, well, she's got plenty to keep her busy with her career. The court officially drew the line in the sand, saying neither of them can touch or drain the assets they built during their marriage without mutual consent. Smart move, right?
And they're basically calling it quits. The financials will be handled later on. And that's pretty much it. I feel bad for Ryan, and I also am irritated with him because I feel like if someone would have embarrassed me the way she did, and I'm talking about she has...
This basically stops any sneaky financial moves while they hash out who gets what. Oh, and get this. They both had to submit these super detailed sworn lists of all their assets by the end of August. We're talking bank accounts, investments, every penny. These lists are going to be the blueprint for how the community property gets divided, so they have to be spot on.
Really attacked his manhood, who he is as a person, even claims of abuse at one point. There's too many things that she's done. I personally would have took her to the cleaners because I would have made sure she learned a lesson.
Now, can we talk about how Ryan has been the picture of dignity through all this? Like, zero drama from him. He hasn't thrown shade or spilled any private tea about their relationship, even when provoked. And trust me, Gypsy has not been playing by the same rules. She's been all over the place, airing their dirty laundry. Remember when she leaked those private messages where Ryan complimented her and said he missed her? That was such a low blow. She even handed them over to one of her shady friends to make them public. But Ryan, he didn't bite.
Like, you can play with anybody you want to play with. You can play with all the toys in the world. You could go into Target and Walmart and play in the play section. But baby, don't play with me. That's just my personal opinion. I think that Ryan does not think he's part of the problem, but he really truly is.
He stayed calm and classy, which honestly just makes her look worse. And Gypsy wasn't done. In a People interview, she came out and said one of the reasons for their split was that she wasn't attracted to Ryan anymore, and that it affected their private life. Excuse me? This is the same Gypsy who had publicly gushed about how amazing Ryan was as a partner. To make it even messier, she started comparing him to her new boyfriend, which just felt like twisting the knife. Shakespeare's Grace is about internal suffering bound to compassion, and the way it was portrayed
is because at the end of the day, if Gypsy did not have people out here allowing her to do the things that she does, she wouldn't do it. She plays with the people that she knows she can play with. And I feel like he is one of those people that she feels like she could play with.
Let's be real. This is a pattern with Gypsy. Ryan seems like he was just another piece in her game. After her prison release, she needed someone stable to help her rehab her image. Enter Ryan, head over heels for her, and willing to play the part. But the second she didn't need him anymore, she dropped him. And this isn't new for her. She's done this before, manipulating people to serve her own interests. For Ryan, though, this divorce is probably the best thing that could have happened. He's getting out of a toxic situation, even if he doesn't fully see it yet.
I don't know about the rest of the world, but if this doesn't show you just how rotten and despicable Gypsy Rose Blanchard is, I don't know if there's any helping you. Gypsy Rose Blanchard says she didn't enjoy sex with ex Ryan Scott Anderson, despite once saying that the D is fire.
Sure, he probably still has feelings for her. It's not easy to let go of someone you loved. But give it time and he'll see this as the blessing in disguise that it is. At least he doesn't have a child with her, unlike her new boyfriend, Ken. Now that's a whole other layer of complication, co-parenting with someone as, let's just say, complex as Gypsy. Now back to the community property division. This is where it gets real.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard isn't holding back when it comes to her tumultuous love life. The famed victim, supposed self-proclaimed victim of undiagnosed Munchausen by proxy 33, whose gripping new
Gypsy's financial portfolio is no joke, with earnings from documentaries, book deals, and lifetime projects all adding up to a tidy sum. But here's the thing. Under Louisiana law, Ryan could get a cut of that, and you just know that's going to sting for Gypsy. She's built this image of being independent and self-made, but if Ryan walks away with a big slice of her earnings, it could challenge that narrative. And let's not forget, Gypsy's financial success happened during their marriage, so technically, Ryan has every right to a share.
memoir, My Time to Stand, will be released today, December 10th, has finalized her divorce from her ex, Ryan Scott Anderson, and is currently happily with boyfriend Ken Erker. In an exclusive interview with People this week, she opens up about their sex life and what went on behind closed doors that
Oh, and can we talk about those sworn asset lists for a second? They're a total game changer. Both Ryan and Gypsy have to list everything they own, down to the last penny, and these lists will decide how the assets are split. It's like financial transparency on steroids, and there's no room for games here. If Gypsy tries to hide anything, it'll come out. And you better believe Ryan's legal team will be ready to pounce. Honestly though, Ryan's composure through all of this is kind of inspiring. While Gypsy's out here leaking texts and giving messy interviews, Ryan's focused on the bigger picture. He's not just walking away from a toxic relationship, he's setting himself up for a fresh start.
encourage her decision to call it quits. I still struggled when I first came out of prison, Blanchard says, of her sex life, after being released from Missouri's Chillicothe Correctional Facility, where she served 8 years of a 10-year sentence for her part in the murder of her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. No, it wasn't.
It's not just about the money, it's about reclaiming his life and his narrative. Gypsy can have her public drama, but Ryan, he's playing it smart, and in the long run, that's what's going to matter. So, what's next? The property division is the final piece of this puzzle. And I think it's safe to say that Ryan stands to gain more than just a financial settlement. This is his chance to move forward, free from Gypsy's shadow, while she's left to navigate her own chaotic choices. As we gear up for the final division of their community property, I have a feeling Ryan might actually come out ahead. And let's face it, he deserves a win after all the chaos Gypsy's put him through. Gypsy, on the other hand, keeps showing us her inability to keep it together. She's out here throwing public tantrums while Ryan's over here just being calm and collected.
It was done and finalized the day she went into court, and that's what the hearing was for. But it is now completely settled because the judge has signed off on the paperwork. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is finally putting her first marriage behind her. It looks like both she and Ryan Anderson have reached a settlement in a divorce. According to a court clerk, a judge hadn't yet signed off on it. That's typically how it goes. Ryan's lawyer, Jeffrey Carrier, tells TMZ his client skipped the court appearance to save on those pricey attorney fees. And why would he? She's pregnant by somebody else. He wasn't going to contest it.
It's like night and day. All right, guys, that's the latest on the Ryan and Gypsy saga. A roller coaster of drama, courtroom moves, and some serious life lessons. Whether you're Team Ryan, rooting for his fresh start, or you think Gypsy's got more tricks up her sleeve, one thing's for sure. This story has been wild from start to finish. But hey, we're just scratching the surface here. There's still the final showdown over their assets, and who knows what other twists and turns might pop up along the way. I'll be here to spill all the tea and break it down for you. Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you as over Gypsy's antics as Ryan seems to be? Or do you think there's more to her side of the story? And what about Ken? How long before he starts feeling the weight of all this drama? Let me know, because I'm dying to hear your take on this. Before you go, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. I've got more juicy stories, celeb gossip, and behind-the-scenes drama coming your way. Stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next one.